Meta versus Facebook. I'm sorry, versus AI. That is what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to Hump Day and the voiceover huddle. We do it every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Thank you for being here, where we talk about voiceover and how to grow your voiceover business. My name is Mike Hathcote. I'm a full-time voice actor and author of the book, The Voiceover Blueprint. If you want to grab one of these, you can get it for less than $10 in the description below, the digital download and the audio book, plus 4 free bonus gifts. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can get this content quickly. And don't forget to chime in also on the chat so we can do some shout outs in a minute. And if you want to learn more about the VoiceOver Blueprint, our flagship training program, there's a link in the description below, and you can learn more about that. It is basically a PhD level class on how to become a full-time working voice actor. So you can learn about that below. And boy, last night, George Whittam totally delivered last night. We had such a great class. I thought I knew a thing or two about a thing or two regarding audio. And boy, I learned a ton last night, as I'm sure everyone who was in attendance did. Such a great class. Just a heads up, the replay of that class will be available until midnight Friday night at the regular price. Then it's going to go back to the retail price. So if you missed it last night, don't miss out on the regular price, or the sale price, or the current price. Check that link below. Unbelievable amount of knowledge he crammed into an hour and a half, and it was fantastic. So enough about that. Okay. So following YouTube's lead, Meta, who is the parent company of Facebook, is also cracking down on AI content. Could the dominoes be falling? Who knows? But this is yet another small win in the battle against the robot overlords, who are trying to, replace human content with AI generated content. And so, yes, there are reports now that Meta is cracking down and demonetizing, and they're making people who are using fake voices and fake video and images to post, to label their content as generated by AI, which is kind of a little bit of a demerit, or whatever you want to call it, that they have to admit that they're using AI content versus human. So that's just one little tiny win for the humans. So that's going on now. Hopefully other profiles or other platforms will take heed and do the same thing, because I mean, people are just not buying it. Literally, they're not buying what they're selling when they're using fake content. And whether it's an advertisement or otherwise, it could be just some quick little entertainment piece, or it could be an ad. But if it's got AI voices on it, the people have spoken, and they're just not buying it. So these companies, or these platforms like YouTube and Facebook, they're in this for money ultimately, but engagement, which leads to money. So anytime there is something out there that people are not jiving with, they're not going to be down with that. And also, there's 4 or 5 particular voices that seem to be getting, like recycled over and over again for all these different content creators. You hear the same handful of voices, no matter what the thing is, whether it's an ad or a top 10 list, or, did you know about this or that, or, whatever. It's always the same handful of voices, and that gets old. Okay. So that's another reason why people are just they're not digging it. So hopefully that's just one of many more platforms out there who are going to start cracking down on the use of AI voices, which is a win for us, right? Well, this morning has been all about Black Sabbath. Been rocking Black Sabbath all morning this morning as I was preparing my day. And of course, the late, great Ozzy Osbourne, if you're of a certain age, he was very instrumental in your in your childhood or in your adolescence, probably when you were growing up. So Godspeed, Ozzy. See you on the other side. All right, let's see what everybody's saying today. Marlene is the first one in today. Good morning, Mike. Great class last night. Clutter is your friend. Yes, that is just one little nugget that George gave us last night in that the amount of clutter you have in your space helps the acoustics, right? And it does kind of make sense if you think about it. All those things that you have in your space are things that either absorb sound or, um, uh, well, I guess absorb sound. Yeah, all those things, whether you have, little tchotchkes and books and all these different things in your place, that kind of stuff can really help the acoustics. So that was just one of many, many things that he let us know last night that just really opened my eyes and a lot of people's eyes about how you can, you know, use things that you maybe hadn't thought about to absorb sound in your booth, stuff you've got around your house. So much good information last night. It could not have gone better. It was fantastic. There's Sean from Longview. Hello to you. And there's Grady from Ithaca, two of the TV affiliate boot campers, which, by the way, was at the exact same time as George's thing last night. So, if you wanted to be on both, you're going to have to watch the replay of one of them. But hopefully, if you did miss it, you've got an opportunity at least to get it in the regular price until Friday night. And there's Jason from Kearney, Nebraska. He says, "Good morning to all the non-robot robots in voiceover." Yes. And there's Sarah from Kentucky. Hey, Terry from Falston, Maryland. Another good subject, Mike. Well, thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. And there's John from Denver. Hello to you. And Denise from Long Island. Missed all y'all. Missed you too, Denise. Glad you're back in. And there's Nephi from Knoxville. And Ron from Grand Haven, Michigan. Hey, Theo. Happy hump day to all from downtown Chicago. Sorry to have missed this week's huddles. Dang chest cold, but doing a bit better now. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're a little bit better. Ringo, on the other hand, who is right here, I don't even know if you can actually hear him, but his breathing is still really crackly, and so he's still dealing with some stuff. Hopefully getting better, though. There's Sally from Plano, Texas, and there's Nancy from Yankton, South Dakota. Oh, another thing, little side note here. Another thing I learned last night from George is that my interface is a problem child, which is probably part of the well, not part of the reason. I have figured out that interface is the problem why these voiceover huddles that I do every morning on YouTube are crackly. Apparently that interface is no bueno. That version of that interface, which is the Focusrite Scarlett 4th generation. I thought, well, I'll get the newest 4th generation. It'll be the brand new one. Apparently there's known issues with this demo or with this interface. So George told us last night that not only is that an issue, but it's also got some issues playing nice with some DAWs as well. So fortunately, that's not a big issue with me. It works well with my DAW, but I'm going to have to swap it out for a different one so that these YouTube huddles don't get all crackly. So much information last night. Hey, Dennis from Grant Park, Illinois, and there's Scotty from Brookings, South Dakota. Hey, Wayne from Port Orchard, Washington. Good to see you this morning. And Doug from Greensboro, North Carolina. And there's Andrew from Latvia. Good morning to you. And Tim, good afternoon from Altoona. Rearranging my booth thanks to last night. Good stuff, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of, there's so much other, I'm trying to think of another thing that I can let you know. Okay. One of the things that I thought was fascinating was if you're in a room with a window and you have a condenser mic that has a front and a back, make sure that you position your space, wherever you're sitting in the room, to where the back of the microphone is facing the window. If that's where a lot of noise is coming in, because the back of the microphone is obviously not going to, absorb as much sound as the front. But if you've got, say, a window behind you and the front of your microphone is here and the window's behind you, it's going to pick up more information than if the window is in front of you because the back of the microphone is not picking up as much sound. So once again, I just thought there was just so much of that stuff that I'm just a geek when it comes to that. Sally said, loved last night's workshop. I learned that I have a free session with George as a part of the price of my tri booth. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember you mentioned that. George is part designer or one of the designers of this booth, this mobile travel recording booth called the Tri Booth, which is a triangular booth with blankets and stuff. And part of the offer that he has is when you buy one of those, you get a free class or a free session with George to kind of, get it all dialed in. So Sally was unaware of that until last night, and now she's got a free session with George. Bob says, have to catch the instant replay. Wadsworth, Ohio, please do. You're gonna learn so much. Just because you thought you knew this or that about stuff, you're in for a big surprise. So yeah, it's good stuff. Kathleen says, hello, I enjoyed last night's class. I have a 4th gen Scarlett Solo. I'm glad to learn that the issue I was having was the interface. I thought it was the user error. Exactly. I'm going to swap mine out today. So hopefully tomorrow's YouTube huddle won't be as crackly. Jason says, no more arigato, Mr. Roboto. That's nice. Yeah, that's another one. That's another throwback to the 80s there. Styx was the group that sang that song. There's Steven in Atlanta. Timothy says, I'm blaring Perry Mason in the background currently. Well, all right. And there's Alex says, good morning from Utah. And Andrew says, I've heard Highway to Hell. That's not Ozzy. That's AC/DC, but hey, it's all good. It's all good stuff. Lynette says, good morning from Sparks, Nevada. And Ron says, with the pulling back of AI, will that trigger more work to Fiverr, et cetera? Probably. Probably so. In fact, someone mentioned when I mentioned the thing a few weeks ago about YouTube, or a couple of weeks or whenever that was, that Upwork all of a sudden had tons of YouTube jobs listed because on the 15th, I believe, which was the D-Day when they were going to start demonetizing the AI content, the people who rely on that for their income, they're scrambling, right? Because they're no longer going to get paid for those videos. So they started doing hiring more on Upwork. So that's probably going to be the same thing for Fiverr. Now, I will mention this, and I've mentioned it before. Most of the YouTube content creators, not all, and not the ones who are running ads on Facebook and YouTube, but the ones who are just putting up these faceless videos about just random stuff, they are notorious for paying peanuts for your voiceovers. Don't do it. Okay? Don't, take $5 or $10 for 1,000 words. Just don't. If you don't do that, if nobody does that, then they're going to realize they're going to have to pay actual market rates for voiceover, for quality. Okay? So you get these people who will offer, $5-10 for 1,000 words, and people who are new to the game, new to voiceover, they don't realize that is just bottom of the barrel, under the barrel rates. So know your worth. Remember the 3 T's: time, training, talent. Those are the things that you should rely on to price yourself. You're pricing not just for the time you're sitting in the seat, but all the time you've spent learning this business. So don't take those slave wages. Just don't. Jason says, "Oh my God, Denise, so glad to see you here." Yes, we miss Denise. Well, welcome back. Nephi says, "I'll have to check out the replay from last night. I learned so much from the 15 minutes I spent with George in the boot camp from just casual conversation." Right. He's forgotten more stuff about audio than we all know. He's been doing this for decades, and he knows everything there is to know about audio, about acoustics, gear, DAWs. Uh, I it's insane how much this guy knows. But he's also really good at making it easy to understand, and so that's my goal, is to make things easy for people to understand and digest. So anybody that we get for like these monthly expert webinars that we do, I want to make sure that they're the best in the business and that they know exactly what they're talking about, and more importantly, how to actually teach it so that you understand. And boy, George was great at that. Bob says the White House has speakers above their windows playing music so nobody can pick up secret conversation picked up vibrations off the windows outside. That's interesting. Wow, I wonder what they're playing. Um, I know that some places like for instance, therapists and stuff like that, they play white noise out in the lobbies, so that you can't pick up any kind of private conversations that are happening inside the offices. Um, so yeah, there's plenty of ways to do that, but that's interesting. I was not aware of that about the White House. That's cool. Maybe they're playing some Ozzy today. Maybe that's what they're doing. Theo says sound masking. I've installed this kind of stuff professionally. Cool. Yeah, that's the stuff that that kind of hushes voices in conversation. All right. Well, I've got some more radio ads. For some reason, I've just been getting tons of radio ads the last few days. So I've got more this morning that I need to do. So once again, the replay of that class is in the description below. Go ahead and check that out and get your learn on from George the Tech Whittam. Um, it is just amazing how much I didn't know about what he's doing. And once again, the first thing I'm going to do once I get off this call, I'm going to swap out this interface, see if that makes a difference tomorrow. All right. To each and every one of you, thank you for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow for Thursday's edition. And until then, break a lip.